Today, I'm going to paint this little landscape on a greeting card that I'm going to give away to somebody. And it's based on a reference photo from Google Maps. I hit the Google Maps thing randomly, and it took me to Switzerland. And there was some beautiful scenery there. So I wanted to use one of those screenshots and turn it into a watercolor painting on a greeting card. And if you watch the video, you'll see how I did that. And also I have a poem from William Wordsworth, which is called "I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud." So that's what you're in for if you want to watch the whole thing. And of course you can fast forward it and just paint with me, or just listen. Sometimes I get comments from people saying they listen as they paint, kind of what I had intended in the beginning of this channel. But thank you for subscribing, for liking, and for painting. All right, let's keep going. Good morning. How's everything going in your world? It's a nice way to start a conversation, right? How's everything going in your world? We have such a speech habit of saying, "Hi, how are you?" Right? You ever walk into a new place of business or something, and maybe the person at the door or the person at the cash register says, "How are you?" "How are you?" Or "How you doing?" Or whatever. And however you acknowledge somebody walking into a place for the first time. "How you doing?" "Good." Maybe says, "Good. I'm doing good. I'm fine." "Oh, fine. How are you doing?" "I'm good. I'm fine." Right? I know you've heard this kind of conversation before. What else would you say? There's certain things we say, I think, that are just, oh, that's a good color. Let me start with that one. Certain things we say that are just, habit things, and they're kind of icebreakers to get you started with saying something. So, anyway, how you doing? How's everything going? So I thought I would do a little easy, kind of a landscape based on a scene that I got from Google Maps. I went wandering on the internet. Specifically I went wandering to Switzerland, believe it or not. I don't know how I ended up there. I think I just pushed a button, and the next thing I knew I was looking at Switzerland. And it was a what's what they call it, a street view thing, where the Google guy drives down the road and his camera just gets everything. I've seen a couple of them. You might have seen them too. In fact, I've seen them from Google, and I've seen them from Apple. I think it was Apple. A couple of companies want to just drive around and take a picture of everything. Did you know that on Google Street View, make sure I say the right thing. Did you know that on Google Street View, you can turn back time? Did you know that? Yeah. It's kind of cool. You can, there's a little box on the left, upper left-hand side, and it'll have a date on it. And in fact, when I was Googling my way through Switzerland, I noticed that the foliage was changing. So some parts where I was, driving around, I guess, for lack of a better way to say that, some places look more like summertime, and other places look more like autumn. And yes, if you look at the upper left-hand corner, you'll see ooh, that's nice. It's a nice turquoise kind of a blue. Huh? You'll see the date that it was videotaped or photographed, or however that is. I guess photographed. All right, we're just spreading this around now. Just trying to get the blues and the blue greens together. Just get them all here. So this scene is based on one of those scenes. And I have a poem called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Have you ever wondered how much water is in a cloud? I have. I've wondered this. And when I went to the internet to ask how much water is in a cloud, there was one time I found an answer. What is this color? Okay, I use it out a little bit. There was one time I found the answer, and there's as much water sometimes, like in the sky over your head. As much water. I am not exaggerating. Well, this is not me. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I can tell you what I read. There's as much water as in like a large lake. I don't mean like the Great Lakes that large, but yeah, there's as much water in there as some lakes. Wow, I'm already at a point where I have to wait for this to dry. Let me try and add some little bit here. I want these to be mountains, like Switzerland mountains. Whoa, don't go in there. See, it's too wet. I gotta just let it dry. All right, let me put some color here in the dry area, and I'll worry about the tops later on. Come on, get back. Get back, water. Get back, watercolor. Come on, stop creeping up there. It's not behaving. It's doing what it does. It's got a mind of its own. So, this weekend, I'm going to New Smyrna Beach. I plan to bring the paints with me. And I plan to paint. All right, well, we'll see what happens. But first I want to read. I gotta let this dry. So while it's drying, I have a poem from William Wordsworth. It's an interesting name for a poet, isn't it? Wordsworth. He lived from 1770 until 1850. And I copied a little bit about him. It says William Wordsworth was one of the founders of English Romanticism and one of its most central figures and important intellects. Wow. He is remembered as a poet of spiritual and epistemological speculation. Well, that's a mouthful. Epistemological. A poet concerned with the human relationship to nature and a fierce advocate of using the vocabulary and speech patterns of common people in poetry. Speech patterns of common people in poetry. I remember when Ringo Starr had the song It Don't Come Easy. The English teacher said, it's not It Don't Come Easy, it should be It Doesn't Come Easy. Do you remember that song by Ringo Starr? You know it don't come easy, right? Imagine if it was, you know it doesn't come easy. I guess it would have worked. Anyway, so don't come easy would be common people, right? That's how we talk. The son of John and Anne Cookson Wordsworth, William Wordsworth was born April 7th, 1770, in Cockermouth, Cumberland, located in the Lake District of England. That area would later become closely associated with Wordsworth for over 2 centuries after his death. Well, he died in 1850, so 2 centuries, it would be 1950, 2050. We haven't reached that yet. Okay, well anyway, I guess it's still associated with him then. But I want to read the poem to you. That should be enough time for this to dry. I wandered lonely as a cloud is the title of it. And here we go. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Yeah, well, that might describe this painting, because we do have a lake and we have trees. We don't have any daffodils. Okay, that looks like it dried. How about that for a little trick? Read a poem. Read a poem and it'll dry. Let's see if I can get this distant mountain a little bit darker. I get it. A little bit darker, not too dark necessarily. Put some peaks in there. Yeah, it's got to be a little bit watered down. Just kind of make it mountainy. Make it look mountainy and misty. Let me add some more water to it. Bring it up here. Keep it wet. Yeah, so I have a couple of days I'm going to be spending in New Smyrna Beach. New Smyrna Beach is on the east coast of Florida. It's a very pretty area. I'm looking forward to it. And it's June, and it's Florida, and it's the beach. So there should be a lot of heat happening over there. I'm going to add a little yellow in here, see if I can get it. Yeah, see, that worked. I put a little yellow there just to kind of get some green there, because the yellow and the blue come together and make green. Looks pretty good. Alright, now what we have to do is let that dry, and while that's drying, let's get this darker over here. A little bit darker. I think I'll use this brown and this orange. Make sure that's dry right there. I don't want it to bleed over to it. Let's get this nice and dark here. There we go, some reds, nothing wrong with that. That'll work. But I do want it to be considerably darker. I might have to do a couple of layers. Yeah, let me just kind of work that and I'll come back to it. Alright, and then in the foreground here, we want a little bit of green. It's a little bit too green. And we'll come back to this. We'll let this get darker also. I think the idea here is to get it kind of in the shadow here. This is a grassy little foreground here. See, it already has the look of the whole composition. It's already there. Yeah, it came out pretty good. Now let's add some more darkness over here. See, what I do is I get the green and I mix it with the orange and it darkens it. It's kind of a cool little trick. There we go. The whole idea is to keep that background lighter. And I'll have to work on that background a little bit more. So we're going to New Smyrna, and we have rented one of those Airbnb houses. I've never done that before. It's going to be a first for me. Robin's son and daughter rented it, and so we're going to go spend some time with them. 2 days. 2 days in the New Smyrna beach area. I'm going to keep that a little bit, almost looking like you can see some of the greenery over there. Whoa, that's too green. So what's the trick? Add some orange to it, see? See how that worked out nice? Okay, a little more orange, a little bit more water too. There, now we have that sort of midground, so you got that way background one, and this right here should be darker here. A lot of that's going to be covered anyway. Alright, now let's put the reflection of that mountain, or that distant hill. Let's put the reflection over here. Make sure it... little tiny white line there to kind of give it that feel of water. Just put it on there a little bit at a time. Try and get some of that purple mountain to also be. Let me see if I can get some of that purple over here. Let me water it down. Just put a little bit here. Reflecting in the water also. There we go. And then this. There. Believe it or not, that's the whole underpainting. You just smudge the water on the back. So it has an interesting back when it dries later on. A little bit darker toward the top. Just get it wet. Get the whole thing wet. You could use a sponge to do that too. Okay. So we can make it a little bit darker, I think, as we get closer to the grass here. Just kind of let that middle area be the brightest spot. And we'll come back to it. Because ultimately we have those trees in the foreground that we want to make sure we get in there. These little ripples of water. Well, that's pretty cool so far. That's pretty cool just as it is, right? Alright, I do have to let it dry, so I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll be right back. Okay, it's dry now. It's okay. It's not too bad. Let's go ahead and put some trees in here now. What color should I put the trees? What is this color? I think I'll do the taboo. The taboo is to put brown on a tree, but I think I'm going to do that. Make this tree brown. Let it come all the way up to the top of the picture. Let it pass through the trees, the mountains, I mean. All the way through the top of the card. And we'll just keep it thick. A thick tree. Just let the watercolor do its thing. Bring it way to the top. I think I like the idea of making it a thick tree. I like that. Let's put another one over here. Let's put this one maybe right here. Maybe this one had a little bend to it as it grew. Just keep it nice and thick. This one had a moment in its life when it said, I want to go this way. And then it changed its mind and said, no, I want to go that way. And then it said, you know what I want to do? I want to go both ways. So it had a fork in the tree. And it went up like that. And then it went up like that. What do you think of that idea? Alright, there's a couple of trees. Maybe one over here, just poking in from the side. But you really can't see the whole thing. Just some trees. Just some foreground trees. Okay, let's give this guy a couple of branches. Branches that reach out. Just reaching out. Just going up to the sky as high as it can go. Maybe a few little ones over here. Okay. Maybe make it a little bit darker. A little bit more silhouetted. What do you think of that idea? I'll put some green stuff over here. Let's give it a little bit more. A little bit more depth to it. How about we have one branch that comes way out here? So we can get some green added to that a little. Just using the side of the brush to make these branches. I always get carried away when I'm putting branches on trees. I never know when to stop. I never know. It just seems like there are so many of them. I'm gonna make this branch come down here a little bit into the foreground here. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's get some grass going down here. Some bushes. Some areas to hide behind. Let's put some leaves on these trees. Just a few. Or maybe not, maybe a lot. Maybe a lot of leaves on these trees. Here in Central Florida, we are. I think today or yesterday was the first official day of summer, but it's felt like summer for a while now. Probably a whole month or so. Well, Florida, as you know, it's a warm place, but it's been beautiful. And I have not gone swimming yet. I used to go swimming a lot when I was younger. The rivers here are so beautiful. You know what we didn't have when we were kids? We didn't have a thing called YouTube. And now I look at YouTube sometimes and I'll see videos that people post of themselves in the same place that I used to swim. And they will show, of course, alligators. Well, two thoughts come to mind. I must have swam with those alligators a lot when I was a kid and just didn't know it. Or I knew it, but I never saw them. I knew they were there, but I really honestly didn't see them that often. But I did see them. I don't want to tell you I never saw them. I did see alligators. And honestly, they never were a fright to me because they weren't close. They were always on the shore. But I have, a few people that would never go in the river with me or with other people because of those alligators. They were just frightened by them. And I don't blame them. For alligators can be, I mean, their whole mission in life is to eat things. So eat and reproduce, that's the whole mission. So eating is the issue. We don't want them to eat us. And they will. They don't know. To them, you're just another piece of meat. You're a whole butcher shop. So, yeah, a lot of people don't go. But what I started to say is we didn't have YouTube, obviously. And YouTube is a place where people post things, or Facebook or wherever, that shows, what's going on in their world. And if there's something exciting, then it gets a lot of hits and a lot of people look at it. And the one thing that seems to happen from around here is the alligator videos. And so I'm not scoffing at it. I'm thinking to myself, oh, do I still want to go into that? But then the same thing happens at the beach, because we're going to go to the beach this weekend, and New Smyrna Beach is kind of notorious for shark bites, right? Yeah, you've heard that, right? Maybe you haven't. But, yeah, New Smyrna has this reputation for having a lot of sharks. So we'll be in that water, and I will be worried about sharks because of all the videos that people post. Meanwhile, when I was a kid, I went in the ocean all the time. I do have a great chair, though. Oh, I have a great chair. My chair is really good. Maybe I'll just sit in the chair and watch the waves. We will have with us a 5-year-old. Robin's grandson is going to be there, so I'll enjoy messing with him and playing in the sand. I'm a kid at heart, anyway. I used to when my son was little. Maybe I'll do this weekend. When my son was little, I used to bring this handheld net, and we would scoop it into the surf, and we would catch little tiny fish, not for any reason other than to just look at them and then put them back in the water. But sometimes when he was little, he would take his little shovel and he would dig a little pool, 2-inch deep pool. And then we would take those little fish, we put them in the 2-inch deep pool, And it was kind of fun. We pretended it was a whole ocean. Alright kids, I think we're done. I don't think I want to mess with this too much more. Maybe a little bit more greenery over here. Alright. I think I'm going to call it done. It's pretty. I'm going to give it to somebody. Let me fold it. Make it look like a card. Well, that looks pretty nice. I'm kind of happy with that one. You see it? I always never know what angle to hold it at. Is that right? Do I have it right? Alright, well there's today's card. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you for subscribing. And I'll talk to you later.